Nani ajui zipi ukula pesa ya chama?
Nani ameongelelea mambo ya pesa hapa? CP ni chair lady. Mambo ya pesa na kuhesabu loan hiyo tunaachia Malipo.
Yaani muongeza mtu mwingine na hata mjatuambia.
Malipo app ni application ya chama.
So on the first half of the show, I was having a conversation with Andy Ritu from Swift Lab, who's an aeronautical engineer. And this particular part of the show, I'm going to be having a conversation with a techie. Me, I'm just the mouth engineer right here. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Something quite interesting about some of the inventions that you've done is that you've always been one who's always inventing. And before we even get to the product, one of the new businesses that you have, Malipo, I want you just to take me through your background in terms of the tech world, because I know techies, before something works up, you've done so many different you have so many different failure stories.
Yeah.
How exactly has your journey been?
Wow, it's one of those roller coaster journeys, I think so. I think the first thing I did was I tried to monetize my final year project, I think after finishing campus.
What is the project about?
We were actually trying to do a LinkedIn for phone contacts, if I can summarize it. So we'd build a graph of contacts based on your number, and then we'll then suggest certain contacts that you need. So let's say I want to find somebody who works at a certain place. So let's say they start at group. So ideally what we realized was the problem was I had to call so many of my friends just to find out, do you know somebody who works here so that I can do this? Do you know somebody who works here? So we decided, why can't we automate this process? Why can't I just build a graph of contacts so that I just go search, and then the system can suggest for me and tell me all my friends who knows a contact where I'm looking for. And then I just have one person to call and not 10.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then after that, I'm sure
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. And just coming to one of the new products that we actually developed right now called Malipo. Just take me through what exactly is it that Malipo is actually doing, and how exactly did the idea come about?
So what we're actually trying to achieve with Malipo is to build a modern financial infrastructure that can power groups. That is the merry-go-round groups, the Chamas, as we call them in Kenya, investment groups. Because we realize that this particular group of people lack a worldwide infrastructure system to power their operations in terms of transparency, money in, money out, loans, credit scoring, everything that comes with managing a group in. And they cannot afford the core banking systems, which are very expensive. So what if we give them a solution that is just on their phones? So basically you have your accountant, your CFO, your treasurer, all in the palm of your hands.
Interesting.
Malipo,
I don't trigger this particular idea. Ulikuwa part of one ukaibiwa? Because I know every idea has a particular instigator of it.
Yeah,
How exactly did it come about?
It's interesting. It has several concepts to it, to be honest. One, a few of my friends might kill me for this. But I think we started a small investment group after we had finished college. Didn't go very well because of the lack of transparency.
So someone ilipitia kwa treasurer akakula.
Someone ilipitia kwa treasurer.
Na hiyo chama ikakufa hivyo.
And that killed the trust. And that investment group basically died. But then that got us thinking, and I said there's got to be a better solution, because the only way people can progress is if you come together. So the only thing that is killing the ability for people to pull resources together so that you can progress is lack of a system that enables you to do that transparently. And that's the whole idea of how Malipo came to be.
Interesting. And just take me through the journey. For how long has Malipo been in existence, and how exactly has the growth trajectory been?
So we've built Malipo, I think, for the last 2 years. That's 2018, 2019. Got it to market late 2019, early 2020.
COVID iliyopata njiani.
COVID ikatupata njiani. So we paused a bit, but I also think it was a nice thing, because it made us to really reflect, rebuild the system to power where we think we had gone wrong, and then we really now got going this year. That has been a very interesting growth. I think signing up almost 3,000 users every single month, and that has been quite some growth. Because we currently support, I think, more than 600 Chamas, if I'm not wrong, more than 30,000 users on the platform, and people use it for various purposes, yes.
Interesting. And one of the interesting things, I think even from statistics, in the informal side of the financial world, there's so much, a lot of transaction that's going on. I don't know, from your particular experience and just through the interaction through the app and the many Chamas and groups that you actually signed in, what are some of the interesting insights that you're actually noticing from the system?
Some of the biggest insights I think we've had is there are a lot of people who do what we call off-the-books lending, which ideally is we found that the key part of lending that happens today is the mshwaris and the talas and the tana. But there are a lot of Kenyans out here who really like to do that business, but they lack the systems to do it. So Malipo almost became like, I can start my own microfinance now that I have a system. And a lot of those people then jumped onto that. A lot of people also do table banking, the merry-go-rounds. We realize that's also a very big part of the unbanked that is basically neglected. And those are insights you just get on the system. And their needs are so diverse. And I think our challenge is to keep meeting them. I think that's what keeps us going as Malipo, to keep meeting those kind of financial needs that these people have in terms of their processes. And a lot of that is in processes. How do you do all the complicated stuff that you need to do as a group and have that very transparent?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And in running a fintech company, I know there's a lot of challenges that anyone faces. You told me already took 2 years in developing, and an unknown challenge in terms of COVID came into place, but I'm sure there's so many also hinged challenges that you're facing in terms of just the business. Maybe you can just take me through some of the challenges you've been experiencing.
I think as you build any business, there are challenges that apply across all businesses. One, of course, is if you're a fintech, trust is one that you have to deal with, because people are like, you want to deal with their money, who are you? So we have to convince them that your money sits in your bank. We don't hold your money. Ours is to be a bookkeeping, your treasurer, your accountant expert right on the platform, so you can link to your bank and move your money to your bank using our system, with the record keeping being our expertise and the ecosystem that supports you as a Chama or an individual. Okay. Then of course you also have to link to the banks. That's another challenge, because our banks systems are still based on old infrastructure. They're not prepared for the modern payment system and infrastructure that exists today. So I think those are another challenges that we've had to deal with and build around those. So yeah, I think those are the key challenges that we experience as usual.
Interesting. And one of the interesting things, there's a show I did the other day around, what's it called, the investment that's happening in this particular ecosystem. And I think last year Kenya received, I think, one of the highest funding, I think over 200 billion that happened. And one of the interesting things that I noticed from that particular statistics was that most of the investment are going into the fintech world. I don't know, kama ulikula kakitu. Are you part of that particular statistics? Or has the business been self-funded all through?
So I don't think I'm part of the $2 billion that is coming into the fintech space. But yes, we've had very good partners that have been gracious to support my dream, what I'm trying to do. So yes, we have quite a bit of financial backing as we go with that.
Interesting. And in terms of just growing the business, one of the interesting things you're sharing with me, some of the interesting numbers that you're facing, over 1,000 groups that are individuals registering it within the application over the period of time that you've been doing that. What exactly has been instrumental in terms of this particular growth trajectory? Because I know it's how difficult it is scaling up a startup to the level that you are right now within that short period of time that you have been. How exactly has it been?
I think as a startup founder, you learn a few things down the way, and thank God this is not my first company that I'm building.
Failing brings a lot of lessons.
And I've also built a successful one, which I still run today. So I think that has given me a lot of lessons. And one of it, there's no replacement to trying to connect to your customers in whichever angle that takes. And so we really try to connect our customers a lot on social media. And as we build that also tells us where the gaps are in the market. How do we solve your problems? What's the best way to communicate to you? Because you have to build for trust. Ideally, that is the key in a fintech space. Because customers don't trust by nature. It's just human nature. So I have to earn your trust. How do I build for trust so that you can know that this is the best way to manage your group finances? Okay? That I'm not going to share your data, that your money is not going to disappear, that your records are going to exist for a lifetime, that when you want your cash, you're going to get it, that we can build an ecosystem that supports you for whatever need, because people also do these things for various needs. Others just save for holidays, others for investment, others to maybe furnish their houses. So how do you support all that ecosystem around it?
Interesting.
So I think that has been the key ideas that we try to build as we grow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And something that you mentioned earlier on with regards to what exactly Malipo actually gets to do was that it's not only supporting the different groups, but also there's an aspect of individual to individual lending. Yeah. So just take me through some of the offerings that within the within the application that you've built, and what exactly is the intent of those particular solutions within the app?
So we the key idea when we were trying to build to power groups, we realized we can divide groups into 4. Okay. The first thing is there was all this mushrooming of lending apps that was coming.
Yes.
But we strongly believed they were overcharging clients, to be honest. And most of us, almost 90% of us, our first source of credit is family and friends. That's where we all get our support from, me, myself included. So we say, why can't we build an infrastructure that supports that too, okay? So that I can be able to ask for money from a friend and who can lend me at 0 interest or at whatever interest they choose to. But those records exist so that I'm held accountable to actually paying it back, okay? Without having to say, oh, you didn't send me money, where's the M-Pesa message, oh, it was deleted, where's without all that kind of to and fro that comes with it. And that's when we decided, why can't we build a platform that powers peer-to-peer lending, or what we call loans between friends. So that's the whole idea of that kind of feature. And then you also realize when you are doing a fundraiser, which Malipo also supports, is that you want a treasurer. Okay, so you always ask, where is the number that you want to? And we're looking at the small fundraisers, the trips to Naivasha, the baby showers, the office parties. That's where our focus is on. So the question was, how do we then remove this treasurer business out of the equation so that things become easy? So then Malipo Fundraiser then supports that particular angle, where we support pledges, we support cash and non-cash, all kinds of fundraisers that we can do, because we wanted to mirror what an actual fundraiser is. You know, you can even donate a mbuzi on Malipo to the next fundraiser. So yeah, it's pretty interesting what we're trying to achieve.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And just being in this particular journey, or rather being in this particular fintech space, what is the business model that you're adopting? Are persons paying for them to come onto the platform? Are you getting a particular commission? How exactly does the business work?
So it's free to get onto Malipo. Basically register, set up your Chama, your fundraiser, your business, your loans between friends. That's entirely free. From there, our business model is we charge a small fee for the transaction, and it's a one-off, so we don't charge you to get your money out, we don't charge you to disperse to members within the platform, we don't charge you to lend between each other. We simply charge you when the money comes in the first time as you move it to your bank or to your M-Pesa.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And just finally, in terms, I know when everybody sets up any particular kind of business, there's always a particular vision.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to be the next Jack Ma, maybe the Elon Musk of Africa. How exactly do you want to position Malipo going forward as a business?
I think what keeps us grounded, and not to think so far, but what really keeps us grounded is we feel there's a lot of innovation around building a financial infrastructure that powers people, because banks are really not working in that space. A bank is to keep your money, and if you're lucky, maybe lend it back to you. But the needs of a consumer are so many. Your money needs are so diverse. Then how can we now build a payment infrastructure that powers that? I think that is our goal. That's what keeps us grounded, keeps us going, and we keep thinking of that every single day. And we hope we can be able to take that across Africa and the world if possible.
And I'm wishing you all the best in this particular quest.
Thank you.
So on that particular note, you've come to the end of the show, and quite an interesting conversation we've had with Eric of Malipo. So ukiwa na rafiki ambaye anataka kuomba deni, you can actually go through the Malipo app. If you have a friend who's trying to look, or rather trying to set up a different healthcare system across the country, look for SwiftLab, who are actually having their drones. Quite a number of innovations that's coming up into this particular ecosystem of Kenya, and so many interesting brains that we've actually interacted with on this particular show. On that particular note, I'd like to end the show right here. So thanks so much for having watched The Business Coach, and until next time, I'll see you right here on The Business Coach. My name is Ian Dennis. Same place, same time next week, right here on The Business Coach.